All right, everybody see my screen? Everybody see it? Solid? Make sure. Okay. So first off, some of the things that I included in our toolkit are these fun LED lights that are going to be able to make a lot of fun blinkiness in here. But for the topic of this first discussion is these single-sided objects right here. Now, when you see in here, they look like they have, you can see on the top, but when you go underneath, you see right through. Now, we do those because we're trying to keep the amount of low poly count down. So when we ask everybody, can you make a frontage that is super low poly, we can get around that by using double-sided shaders. So you only have to have half the polygons. So here I'm going to show you an example of what I mean right here. If you're building your camp, you see in the toolkit that we had before, these shade structures that like have all the little details and stuff like that. And then they're very well detailed. You have polys on the top, polys on the bottom, and these are very high detailed. You can see when we go into wireframe, you can see how many polygons that we have in them. That's okay if you're having your own high detailed world. But if we want to represent your camp on MainPly, we're trying to keep the file size very, very low for performance issues. So you can see kind of the similar polygon here. This one has like 20 polygons. This has 400. And what we do, and you guys don't have to worry about this, but what we're going to be using, the shader that we're going to be using to apply to all your models is a double-sided shader. What that does is this originally you could see through the top, but it's a one-sided shape that now is double-sided. So it's half the amount of information, so it's super efficient. So when you're making your you're making your camps. Another example on this. Let's make a plane right here. See out here, this is, you can see through this side, but you see through this side, right? Now, to save having to have another plane that's on the other side that's double the amount of detail, what you do is this one right here, apply to that. Now, obviously, this isn't UV map, so it's going to have the same deal. But look now, see? Double-sided. Same object, same amount of file size, but now you can make a lot more detailed of a world by using, so if you make your own objects, they don't have to be as detailed. So you can have a dome, but you don't have to put a reverse dome inside of it. You can just have, like, where's a good example? Like right here. See? You see through that. Move that over. Here. That material. Now that works on Playa. It's very low poly. It's very low, small file, and that'll work with everybody. So if everybody makes things, assuming that they're going to be double-sided, you don't have to put sides on both sides. Any questions? Everybody understand that? Everybody in tune with that, what we're trying to do?
Right. One question, guys, this is Sam from BlackRock Bijou. Sorry I didn't introduce earlier. Where were you going? Was there a certain setting that was making it double-sided just to make it easier so it uses it? So I couldn't see that.
Yeah. So thank you for reminding me on that. So included in the advanced toolkit, what that is from a shader from this is Audio Studios right here. So what you're going to do is I will walk you through how to do that from scratch. Okay, I have a materials folder right here. Left click, create material.
Boom.
You just call it double side, right? Now, in default, that is going to be a standard Unity shader. And that's kind of, it just does a little, it's just kind of double everything. You can put your texture right here. There's all these other settings here. What you do is, if you've imported the advanced toolkit, this shader will be included. So what you do is you click right here, the Studio, double-sided, standard, and now this is a double-sided shader. What you do is you drag that onto there. Remember how that plane was double-sided, or it was single-sided? Now it's double-sided because of that shader.
Gotcha. So now when you shade it, it'll just automatically go to both sides.
Yep. See right there, right there. See it's there. And this is a very high-performance shader. So that's how we're able to pull off like good frame rates. Pretty much your frontage we'll pretty much be taking your models into our scene and putting that shader in. You don't have to worry about that in your own world. Just these are your frontage objects. And I'm just letting you know that you won't have to be making things double-sided. You won't be having to put all that detail in. Just put one side of things, and we'll be applying this shader that'll be double-sided.
Gotcha.
So we're just letting you know that's how we're going to do that. So that's going to save you guys having to model both sides of a flag or both sides of a shade structure. So that's how we're setting this up. So.
And a quick follow-up. Now on import settings for the compression part, I think you remember you telling me you would like that on medium, and that's required for the low poly world.
No, we'll be doing that because I'm going to be pulling all of your objects into Maya, and then I'll be compressing that. So
Gotcha.
You're going to be giving me your frontage of your camps as an FBX, and I'll be pulling those in so that we can do placement.
Awesome.
So, you know, we don't need that as a Unity pack. We just need it as a raw FBX, as small as possible. Few thousand polygons, have everything match our toolkit texture as best as you can. Like, please follow. We just don't want everybody to be turning in their own camp with their own plywood, different kind of plywood. Because we have 50 types of plywood, our file size is going to be huge. So just stick to our plywood and our steel and our, you know, shaded structure. And however much you can stick to that, more creative, the better, because that'll help us and that'll make the project work smoother, higher frame rate, everybody wins. Okay, so does that answer everybody's question on how we're setting up the double-sided shader, the low polygons, kind of the way we're moving with that? Okay, let's get into the fun part. So this is, let me shut off the wire frame, the shader. Here is the advanced toolkit lighting system. And so we wanted to make sure we had a lot of different objects that could just add a lot of blinky to your worlds. So I made a bunch of them. Now, all of these objects, so let's go run down the line. We have Jungle Gym. We have all these things right here. Everybody getting a good view of this? If I make this window a little bit, let me make this a little bit bigger. So look at all the things you get to throw in your camp. So all of these work off of one shader and one texture. And the shader, it looks kind of complicated, but it's going to be hard to break. You don't have to really worry about it too much. So this is something I wrote a couple of years ago, and I'll explain how this works. So all these blinky lights. So everybody's familiar with the advanced, or the basic toolkit texture where I have all the steel and the rugs and everything, right? Everybody's familiar with that. Everybody's seen that and kind of worked with that a little bit. This is kind of a similar vein. So when you open that up, so this is our light grid, and this is just weird blinky stuff that I've put on one texture. And basically, how all of these things work is I have animated those objects to move their UV map from left to right. So basically, we're just dragging this texture across the model from left to right. So it starts here and just moves over. And all of these are just UV mapped in a different way to blink. Now, that's just explaining how that'll work. It's not really necessary. It's just easy enough where you can just drop these things in and have fun. So here's like, there's these different texture slots where you can add different textures in here to make different blinkies. So you can add different pictures in here and it'll get different effects. So right here, you see these right here. So experiment with these right here, but just put different, you can put different kind of combinations of stuff in here. You can put a person's face in here. It'll move their face across. This is purely just fun for experimenting right here. These lights, right, so there's texture 1, 2, and 3. That's different options. Texture 2 is the one that pans left to right. 3 and 4 rotate, and 3 blinks on and off. So you'll see color, emission. I've got all these 2 turned off and this one turned on. So you're only seeing 1 on. But pretty much what you want to do when you open up this thing is just turn everything off and just start kind of from scratch and then just start just playing around. This one's mostly just made for but right out of the box, this will be fun to light, but you have a bunch of settings. You can even do some a mask. You can put a PNG alpha texture thing to put like cutouts in the texture. You can put that right here and you can tile it up and down. So out of the box, this will work and this will add some blinky, but there's a lot of ways you can manipulate and change this. And you can also add this shader to the ground or to the sky or to anything you want. You just drag it on there and you can just make things trippy. Or like with this right here, look at that, now you're in this weird globe thing. So you can do all sorts of weird stuff, really easy, right out of the box. So any questions on that?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So when I open the advanced toolkit, on one side I see all these the texture on the objects, but on the other side where it says single-sided plier objects, they're all black, they're all dark. It seems like the texture is not linked to them. I'm not very sure why.
Yeah. Mine are all pink.
Okay, well then that's all you have to do is, okay, let's go and just grab all those. Just select them all. Let's see, right here. Let's select them all like that, and, and just throw on the, there. So just select them all and drag that material that you made.
The toolkit material that comes with the toolkit. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, just make your own material and just put that double-sided that double-sided shader on it. So we can go over that again. So let's go over that again so that everybody knows. Create. So go into your assets right here, and if you want to be organized, just go into your materials folder, right-click, create material. Okay, right there.
Another double-sided.
Another double-sided material. And just like remember, it's automatically by default set to a standard shader. And just go, going back, standard. This should be included in your toolkit.
Yeah.
Okay, if not, we can look it up on the asset store in Unity. It's free. It's a free download. Double-sided standard. And then you just put the and then you just drag on there. You just drag on the materials.
I see. Okay.
Now the same thing happens with, it's kind of small, but now we've included bikes. We have bikes. We've included a whole rack of bikes. We wanted to keep these very low poly, so these are all one-sided. If you can see them, you can see one side that disappeared on the other. Same principle. So all these bikes, and all these bikes are also include the advanced lighting shaders. So they all have some blinky lights attached to them. So when you spread these out, as you can see, they have a little blinky thing right here. So that'll have a little bit of light to them. So what you want to do is make another material right here. We're going to call this bikes. Right? We have the bikes already made. And the bikes are already that double-sided material that's transparent. So we'll grab our bikes here. Bikes 1. There we go. And all right, so it should look like that. So when you select all the bikes in your bike rack, just select them all, drag the bikes material, and I'll explain the bikes material here. Bikes material, we'll create that all over again. So let's make another bikes. Right here. Okay. Here is bikes material. We're going to do the same thing. This time we're going to do a transparent because I've set up a texture of bikes that are using a PNG. So you see through the spokes, you see through the wheels. It's transparent. I'll cut out. Here is our bike texture. Bunch of these bikes that I grabbed, guess what? You can go into Photoshop, and as long as you keep it as a PNG, you can change these. You can play with these. You can put furry stuff all over them. You can edit these all you want and just save it as a PNG. It'll stay the same. So you can make your bikes in your world however you want. So let's bring it there, drop it there. And go back to the materials. Another bikes material. This is where we're at. And texture. Here's that bike texture that I just showed you right here that's included in the kit. Right there. So then we go into materials, another bike material. That's how you do it. So the bikes use a double-sided material, just like this, included in the kit. And you add the bikes texture to the first cutout. Everybody follow along? Does everybody understand how I got there? Everybody feel like they can put bikes on in their world now? Chime in.
There was something I noticed that before you drag the materials to the bikes, the two, like few bikes had like the two elements in a different order, like the Blinkies were
Yeah.
element one in some and
Yeah, I had that one. I just had to kind of play with and put. So basically, what I did is, you know how I told everybody you combined an object as one material, and you should always keep everything as one material. Well, I broke that rule by making these objects one object, two different materials, and you can get away with that in Unity by having these two material slots. And then, so you put one material, so one material is assigned here and one material assigned here. So I assigned the advanced lighting because that is assigned to the little LED bar that's right here. And then all this is assigned here. So everybody.
you know, what I was saying, like when I messed around with the bikes for the first time, I noticed like some of them had the Blinkies in element 0 and some of them had the Blinkies in element 1.
Yeah, that might have been a goof on this. So what I want everybody to do here, let me just, we're all cut and everything's, I am going to take that desktop shot and let's share that. Let's see, where's the chat? We can share that chat so everybody can, or if you want to, you can do a screenshot of my screen right now. So you can get the settings right there. Let me see where I just need to grab the chat button. Yeah. So now you have the bikes all set where you have, where we're all caught up. Is everybody feeling good now?
Yep.
Okay, so that was a good fun topic. Now let's play with some other things. So
can I ask one question before we move?
go for it.
So just on my screen, when I'm looking down at the new advanced kit and I'm looking at all the items, I'm not getting any blinky. I'm just getting the array of color. Is there a setting that I need to press to get all those to blink and go animate like yours is doing?
Okay, so it might have been disconnected in the portal. So what you want to do is, okay, so you click on one of the objects that are in this area right here.
Okay.
Just select them all. Let's see, where's it? Okay, let's put them there. Do that. All right. So we're in the BRCvr Toolkit's Advanced Models.
Got it.
Just go, scroll down. Select them all.
Okay.
I think I got them selected all. And you just drag the advanced material on all of them. It just applies to all of them. So sometimes when you bring in a model from Blender into Unity, it just applies its own material. It's like when we have a material that's made in Maya, it doesn't translate over to Unity. So sometimes you have to just manually apply that material in Unity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's giving me the colors, just not the effect.
Yeah, because I have the texture map. I have the texture applied to that material, just not the shader.
Gotcha.
Got it?
So,
all right. Yeah. So so you should be able to get. And the fun thing is, you can apply this shader to anything. It's fairly low cost as far as performance-wise. It's just fun. You can put it on walking animated people. It's just a lot of fun. So yeah, so there is that. Now there's another, so we have Blinkies. So there is a fun topic that so there's this cool, exciting thing that I discovered. Let's see, let me open up the scene.
Oh, great.
Here, save. So one of the interesting things in AltSpace is it's really tricky to do interactivity. Like you need an MRE, right? You know, you want to be able to come up to something and it do something. Like you come up to a button and you want it to interact. You come up to an object, you want it to interact with to your presence. So this world builder named Carnivore did this amazing demo where to be familiar with this, there's a system called level of detail. And how it's designed is when you're far away from something, it's low detail. But when you move forward, it swaps out a very low detail polygon to something even more detailed. Now you can swap that out to be anything you want. So when you get closer to something, his demo was when you get close to a door, it swaps out from a door that's shut to a door that's open. So what I did is here, this is how you apply a level of detail. So let's take this out and let's remove that. Okay, so an example of this, and I'll show you how to set this up, this animation. Here are two people. This is humans right here. One has an animation applied to it, and here is a link to animations. Where's the animation? Where's my chat? There we go. There we go. This is on how to apply animation controllers on characters. But this can be applied to a lot of different things. Any object that you want to do something when you get close, this idea works. So you have two objects. One is a person that's in a T-pose, and the other is a person with an animation controller. So right here, you take these two objects that you want to swap in and out of, and you put them in a parent object that's right here. So this is an empty object with these two people. Well, everybody kind of understand what I'm doing right now? Everybody kind of following along? Everybody, it's okay to...
So far, so good.
So far, so good? Okay. This is a really cool idea that's super simple and I just had to...
Just how did you make the empty folder, the empty object?
Okay, so what you do is, here, let's just step back a second. All right. Create empty object.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
All right. Well, let's see where that, okay. That is, so let's move that over here. All right. So it's going to be human. And here are the objects that I was talking about. We're just going to put that right here. All right. So that's kind of how you have that set up, right? Here, you do is you take any the parent object that you have those two objects in, and you call what's called a level of detail group, right? LOD0 is the one that'll come up when it's when you're close to it. LOD1 is when you're far away, and this will shut it off when you go too far away. So called means it shuts it off. So here I have hip hop dancing. I'll put close. I'll put the static one here. So what happens is let's right here. Start playing this. Okay, go on the scene. See my guy, okay, he disappears here. Mm-hmm. Get closer, he's just sitting there static. When you walk up closer to him, he starts dancing.
Oh.
So
he doesn't have to be dancing if you're not even in the area taking up memory.
Yeah, but so this can apply to anything. So this is just a really fun way where we can get around interactivity or MRAs, you can adjust how close you get up to it. So say you want to be when you get right up close. So this can be anything, like you can have a dog sitting there asleep and you walk up to it and it starts barking at you when you get close. Or, you know, it can be, yeah, we can apply audio to it when you get close. So this is just a fun, easy way that I found from World Builder. I think his name is Carnivore in Altspace, did a wonderful world building lecture, and I wanted to share that with you because it's such a fun, easy way to make some kind of interactivity. So does everybody understand how that was created?
Yep. That's
Quick
cool.
question. How do you import, or from what software did you import the animation? So is that just from Maya?
I'm going to get to that topic next. That's okay.
I do have one question about this method. This sort of like basically also means that like the model or the animation change is personal, right? If two people, one is close to the man, is going to see them dancing, and if one is
it's not,
and it's not synced. Also, if this like two people go in and one comes in like a second later, it's also not going to be synced. So you have to watch out for those.
for your interaction. This isn't going to be shared, but it's just just finding ways to get around, you know, any interactivity and having to code something. This is a way that you can do something where if somebody comes in and sees something in your camp, you can interact with that without coding. So
Yeah, just make sure you know it's a personal interaction and not like if you go in a group, it might confuse people.
yes. But this is just, we're trying to figure out ways where everybody can act some kind of fun interactivity to their camp without having to rely on MREs, which are a pain in the butt to program. But this is just a fun, you had a question.
I was wondering if the class you said you took online with Carnivore is, if that video is available.
Well, that was in Altspace. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Not then. Oh, well.
So.
Can you show us again how you made the LOD component?
Yeah. So it works best if you make a parent object. See right here.
Right.
Let's just remove that. All right. So you can see now, it's just two different objects, right? They're just sitting there and they're just doing their thing. All right. So this is the dancing one. This is the stay put one. So let's stop playing it right now. And then I got to take out the LED again. All right. So add component. LOD.
Oh, okay.
LOD group.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So
And
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, this was just such a brilliant idea from Carnivore. I had to share it because this is
So I was going through my world and I put some of those rugs that you had in there and I noticed it was doing that today. And that's not natural. You added this element to your rugs?
No. You mean it was it?
The detail was getting better the closer I got.
That good subject. Okay, so let's go into the Toolkit Texture. Okay, so go in, click on Textures in here. Good subject to bring up. Click on the BRC Toolkit Texture. So when you click on it, you can change properties on it right here. Now this is one that's kind of tricky to play with. You'll change the size, but when you're building for a quest, the default settings for Unity for Quest make all the files by default very small. Sometimes you want to overwrite that. So like if you're overwriting for, if I had it set to Android, maybe you had it set for Android, where's the build settings? But you can change the properties of your texture right here.
Gotcha.
Now, what you were seeing, how it was getting fuzzy closer to it, that's this level right here, the NCO or however you say it.
Okay.
What you want to do, this is an adjuster that basically changes the resolution further and closer away. So if it's getting fuzzy up until you get really close, just increase that a bit.
Gotcha. So the higher that level, the greater the detail.
Yep.
Further away. Okay, gotcha.
So never turn it up to 11. Just, this is,
come on.
use an 8K resolution, and then you go and you
Go from there.
that.
So that you never want to go there, I'm guessing?
If you're using one texture in your whole world, yeah, you can get away with an 8K resolution. If you're using that for most of your objects, that's what
one texture map.
Yeah, for like all your objects, and you might
Gotcha.
have skybox and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Dozens and dozens of 4K textures, you're gonna have problems. But I would recommend when you open it up, because you're not gonna have these default settings. When you go in, you're gonna have to kind of adjust these. But this, hopefully, the way we've set it up, this is gonna be everybody's main texture that they can work off of. Change it, adapt it, edit it all you want. But if you can keep as much of your stuff on this one texture, you're gonna do okay. You're gonna be okay. And then bring it to 4K resolution. You're gonna be pretty good on your quest. So, and then you just apply it, and then everything's gonna look pretty sharp. You want it even sharper, you can go 8K. Like with Doug at Yearbook, it's a lot of photos. It's a big photo gallery, and we really wanted high detailed photos when you walked in. So we had to really up the quality of the photos.
So his would be on level 8?
Yeah, 8,000.
8,000. So for the BRC yearbook, it's probably around that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by default, the base of this texture is 8,192 resolution. It's a super resolution texture that is ready for everybody to turn it down.
For Quest.
Yeah, for Quest. So you can adjust it. You can de-res it all you want, but it's made to be high quality that you guys can control to bring it up or down.
I made the mistake of making the yearbook a PNG and putting them on the wall because it had a cutout, and I had too big, and it crashed. So I had to switch over to JPEG. So don't do that mistake.
Yeah,
Is that setting based on material or based on object that you're sending material to?
This is the texture that goes into your material. So this is the base texture. See, I have it in the texture folder right here. So click on your texture goes into your material.
Right, but when you go into the resolution, the ANISO setting, is that based on object, or is that the import setting for the material, for the texture setting?
Texture.
Okay.
So you'll probably switch this over to Android, but this is a good place. If you want to increase the resolution of your texture, just go with that. So just to make sure, did everybody get my YouTube link for light mapping your Unity scene for baking the lighting? I'll go into that later. I'm not happy with the results I've had so far because I do all my baking in Maya. So you guys can play with that and get a little bit more experience of that before we jump in. I want to jump in now and show you guys something kind of fun that's so you wondered how you would animate your characters. So I am going to show you how to rig a character and animate it in 5 minutes.
Hey, Greg, I was just going to say when we get to the point where we're talking about baking, I might be able to interject a little bit. I've done a lot of it with the club, so.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not happy with how I've been doing it in Unity, so I've always done it in Maya. This is Kaz, and he's been doing some wonderful stuff. So we might even have him I'm pushing him to do an advanced Blender because he's a little bit better at Blender than I am at Blender because I stick to Maya. So you just signed up to to teach a class.
Hey.
And we have a wonderful party Friday, right, at the club that he just made. So I invite all of you guys to show up on AltSpace there. So so here is what I call Mixamo. So let's go back www.mixamo.com. this is a wonderful website. You'll have, it's a Adobe product, so you might have to sign up with Adobe. And this is a way to make it where you can have animated characters super quick. So, right here. So let's upload, since I already have this one up, but I'll show you how this is all done. So you open this up and you get to this point. I don't have it logged out, but basically get an account and
I think I'm just going to have a bunch of soldiers dying in the field. I like that one.
okay, let's do a bunch of
Nice.
soldiers dying in the field. All right, so I just pulled a humanoid character off of Turbo Squid, which let's get you guys turbosquid.com. This is a great resource other than the Unity Asset Store. This is a great, where's the, okay, where's the chat? There we go. Okay, there we go. This is a great place to get 3D models other than the Unity Asset Store. So, okay, I have just uploaded a humanoid character and it worked. And this is how you rig a character that's in a T-pose. It helps if it's in a T-pose. You point to the chin, wrists,
Genius.
elbows, knees, groin, no fingers, so kill the fingers.
Cool.
Isn't this fun?
Yeah. Makes you look like you did more work than you did.
Oh, this has saved my butt so many times. I am not a character animator, but I've been able to get by for a while with this.
So cool.
So
It's funny because I am a character animator. So I can't wait to see the results.
I'm also a character animator, and I've used Mixamo many, many times. It's saved my butt a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's looking pretty slick.
all right. So what was the animation that
That
you were
dying, the second row there. Oh.
there?
Done.
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 Final.
Or dancing.
If you, Greg, I wanna show something to people. If you go, there's a website called Google Poly,
Okay.
which was a repository of 3D models that are there for free. You can go to it right now, like search Google Poly, and then you can search for the man.
In the chat.
Yeah, like do it on your browser.
Okay.
Type in
Google
Google Poly.
Oh, wow.
So there is a software called Google Blocks that you can find and model things inside virtual reality. I'm not a modeler. I can't use Blender or anything, but I can use it. And now in this website, search for the man.
There's the Mayan right there.
I recognize that model.
This is all. This is what Tilt Brush is part of.
Yes, but they also use Google Blocks. Tilt Brush is a bit not too optimized, but Google Blocks is more. But go to the search bar and search for the man.
I know where you're going on this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, you probably don't want to pull in those tilt brush things into the world.
I recognize this.
We've had a lot of Tilt Brush artists.
I made this like
we figured out a
2015.
workflow from here to.
I took this, I put this into Mixamo, and voila.
And I'm gonna ruin it for. He animated it too.
Why, I don't know.
Come on, Marshmallow.
Come on.
Tell him how you rigged it.
So if you go to Mixamo, you can search for Macarena.
Right there. So in his world, he had a bunch of stick-figure mans doing this. So another cool thing about this is you can, so you download these as Unity, FBX for Unity, download. And by the way, you can adjust the animations over here. There's a lot of little settings, right? So what you do is here.
I've
Okay.
heard of this before, but this is the first time I've really seen it, and this looks amazing.
Okay, so let me just grab a bunch. Okay, I'm just gonna okay, oops, sorry. Download that one. This may take me a minute or two to set up, but it's just, so what you can do is you go, hit the wrong button again. You basically download a bunch of animations, you bring it into Unity, you apply a character animator, and then you just drag the animations and it just plays one after another. It just blends them all, it does one animation and then the other and then the other. And it is so easy to make something. So let's see, where's my downloads?
So technically this is an FBX with embedded animation, right? So this would also work and export from Blender. I'm thinking more about art projects right now where I don't care about the humans, they're always in the way. But there are other things that need to be animated, which would be working really nicely if it's essentially, yeah, free prefab from Blender.
Another cool thing about Mixamo, and that's one thing I've used, is it's so easy to rig. What's great is you just export your file as a T-pose, and it has everything rigged, ready to go, so that you can hand animate things if you want. So let's go in here. Anybody have any questions? I'm trying to like have some fun with these things. I'm trying to give you guys some fun stuff to add in here. So human. Anybody have any questions? All right, so we can do it. You just drag them all in.
So I probably have the least experience here, but how would you then go and add detail to these characters, dress them up? What area would you go to edit these to make them more of your world and personal?
Okay, all right, well that's something that you would do in Blender or Maya.
Okay.
So
a keyword I can go to in Blender.
Well, what's a good thing? Like, what are you looking for? This will say.
Okay, so say the example they used, it was a girl and she was wearing like a halter top and bikini, etc. So how would I make them more human-like?
Go to Turbo Squid, which is this right here.
Okay.
What do you want to look up? Woman?
Anything. Alien.
So what you're going to probably want to do is get something that's, $1 to $100. You probably want to do something that's low poly count. And you can just select one of these. You just buy them in and drop them in, and all the things are rigged. But like,
gotcha.
That would work. That would work. That would work. That would work. You want something for Mixamo to work really well. You want something where the legs and the arms are a little bit far apart. If you have something where the arms are close together, the rig gets ugly. So you want to just make sure that
it's in the ballpark.
What's that?
That it's in the ballpark of your bones.
This would be tricky, but this is perfect.
Okay.
So that's how you do that. And then what you do is you open those files up, and they'll all have a texture map, and you can just go in Photoshop and Photoshop those textures to whatever you want. So here is.
I have a question.
Yep.
It is not directly related, but seems important. Altspace recently changed the version of Unity they use, and when I went to download that version to Unity Hub, they did not have the exact version they listed, and they say in their write-up that it's very important to use the exact version. I was wondering if the one that they have, it's
I've tried it with the new version that when you go to get the 0.4 version, the one that you're able to get, it does work.
okay. Excellent. Thank you.
No problem.
If you're interested, I can go into more details about like the minor version, but
Yeah.
what Buzz said is.
I didn't want to make the transition up to 19.4 until I saw how much time you save with the light rendering, the light baking. Like, all right, I'll make that transition. I'm usually somebody that hates updating Unity until I'm done with the project.
You definitely noticed an increase in the build and upload time of the final like template and kit items. It's just like super fast. But I don't know about the light baking. I haven't tried my club. I haven't upgraded my club yet. I just worked on a new project and tested it, so I know it works, but I don't know what the difference is yet.
All right, so everybody remember that I downloaded a bunch of FBXs from Mixamo. Those are there right there. So just downloaded a bunch of different dancing animations right here. Now we're going to apply all those animations to, so when you grab an object that's ready to animate, here's your object that I just pulled in, right? This is what I pulled in, what I just downloaded. This is a rigged character from Mixamo ready to go. But to animate him, you have to put an animator controller. So you put animator, let me start from scratch. Let's remove that component. So this right here has hip hop dancing included at the FBX. So it has an animation already included with it. So what you do is you add an animator. So this animator needs a character controller. Add character controller. Everybody following on? Anybody lost yet? Just make sure. Character controller. Dancing human. I click back on this. Dancing human. There, put the dancing human. Right here. So now I open up the character controller, and this is kind of this node-based setup for animations. What I did is here is those FBXs that I pulled off of Mixamo. Here is the group object, here is the rigging, and here is the animation file. So this is the file that animates the rig. So basically you're dragging in dancing, hip hop dancing, and the Macarena. Transition, transition. Now, obviously, don't expect everybody to get this fully from this. This is a subject that there's a lot of other documentation about, but I want to show everybody that it is possible to do an animated character fairly easily without having to rig it yourself or animate it. You can go from 0 to, let's see if this works.
By the way, you can skip the step of adding component animator. If you just drag an animation to an FBX, it just creates that automatically for you.
Can I also ask, as a Unity noob, so when I hit play on it, it throws me out like off into the distance, and then I can't move around in the world.
Yep. So that is, it jumps you off into here. The reason why it's doing that is because you have a main camera, and when you press play,
it goes to the main camera.
It does jump to the main camera. So what you do is you go into your scene, right?
Yep.
you want to focus on these guys, right? So
Yeah.
find your camera. So I don't know where your camera is in your scene, but there is the camera.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I personally, as a Unity developer, have the scene window and the game window also both displayed on the screen at the same time. I also use the tall layout and not like this layout. And then when you hit play, it doesn't, like the view doesn't change, only like the game view changes.
I usually try to just have like a couple of monitors so I have like everything everywhere. So let's see.
So then if you hit play, it'll,
So this is the camera that I have.
right.
When we play.
And this thing only happens when both game and scene are tabs of the window instead of being their own independent windows.
So you can see here and this is why you can do just straight throw the animation on here. But once you kind of wrap your head around it, the character controller is such a powerful thing that you can use. It's really simple. Let me drag this. That's okay.
So, sorry, just one more thing. So once that's playing, you can't move the camera like within that game scene,
No,
right? Like in
if you are doing normal game development, when you put in the game, that doesn't have to be your main camera. This can be a first-person controller that you do the WASD keys and you can move around.
how do you do that? You have to set that up.
Yeah, you'd have to import the standard
Okay.
assets from Unity, and that's full of scripts and stuff. And for alt space issues, like I just don't want any scripts or very bare things in my.
Okay.
Alt space rips out all the cameras and all the scripts and replaces it with its own character controller, which is your avatar.
Yeah, that was a question that I had that you probably know best. So everything that is in Unity works except anything that touches C# scripts? Because I was surprised that actually animation is working, but that seems to be transferring over to alt space as it seems then.
Yeah, animations, particle effects. Careful how many particle effects you can use, because we did a dust storm that was very intense and very uncomfortable, just like a normal dust storm on Play, that like brought our frame rate on our headsets down to 7 frames a second. And it pretty much just shut us down. And we're like, all right, we're not going anywhere for a while. We could talk to each other. We just hung and we told the people at AltSpace we did this, and we're like, yeah, I'm sure you're not going to allow us to just hijack everybody's experience on Play and just do a massive dust storm. I might do it, but it shuts everybody's experience down.
I will say I don't think post-production stuff works either. Post-processing effects like glow and bloom and things, they don't work either.
Nope.
And I've also noticed that timeline does not work.
Yeah, but so with the character animation, you see here, you just put all these different animations, and you can just drag and make transitions in here. See, it's doing this dancing, and then just goes. So you can do a lot of fun things in here. I know I am. I'm doing a lot of fun stuff with this. So,
where are the keyframes if you wanted to get into those?
Keyframes.
There's a animation window.
So the
window animation.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm pretty sure it's
Windows. No, there we go.
Yeah. Here's the animation here.
Okay.
You can get around it though. So on this animation, Mixamo doesn't really want you to be able to change their proprietary animations that they downloaded. So they have all the animations in read only. Pain in the butt. But you can copy these keyframes and apply it to another animation. So if you
There's not an unlock, huh?
What's that?
There's not an unlock.
Yeah.
Like right mouse click or unlock keyframe.
Yeah, I've never had. I might be able to fix that now, but I remember I tried to do that, adjust Mixamo animations in Unity, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. So what I would do is just copy the keyframes and put them on another timeline. So
got it.
It's a little bit more advanced and hairy than I want to get in here, but you know, So yeah, I mean, other than bake lighting in Unity, which I would recommend for starters, everybody focus on baking just the ground just for size. But I think I'm going to put the baking class on COS. We're going to have to schedule that up for next week. When you speak up in class, you get pointed out.
I'm struggling with baking cause it's causing my alt space file size to balloon.
Yep.
And I can't get it back down.
We'll do a thing, and I'll open up my club project and go through my panel settings and show you guys kind of what I've poked around with and how I've gotten my thing. And
Oh, you're saying you're gonna relinquish? Greg's gonna give up the view screen right now and let you show us that? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would say that would be more of a. I'm eating Oreos right now. I can't teach people stuff.
By the way, guys, we're having a party at Cause's nightclub tomorrow night. But if all you guys show up, no one else will be able to go. So hopefully you guys will flake.
No, I got it bumped up to 60 people.
All right. Only 4 of you. So.
What time? But if you want to, so there's also here. Let me put up another. There's a good video on how to bake texture. What was the good video that I found about baking lighting in Blender? But yeah, bake lighting really works in Blender as well. So I haven't played it that much. I had my way of doing things, and I've been kind of having to jump into other softwares to do that. And I'm not going to teach you guys how to do it in Maya, because how many people actually work in Maya now that Blender is so powerful? But you probably, Mark, you probably know how to bake your lighting right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So if you use Maya, you're probably not needing to do the introductory stuff. For people in Blender, it is a powerful program. So
I'd like to learn Blender, so I'm down.
Yeah.
Well, just to be fair, I don't actually know Blender baking. I know Unity baking.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy if you taught that. I was going, you know what? I'm not really wrapping my head around Unity baking as much as I would comfortably sending everybody down the rabbit hole of that. But there's a good.
Don't feel bad. It took me like a month of just constantly reading this and that and trying things and this and that, and then you have to wait an hour for it to bake to even see if it made a difference. It's like, but I think I can throw some shortcut pointers.
I like.
Yeah. What is your number one Unity baking tip that causes that explosion of?
I would highly recommend you bake your light maps at a smaller size, so you end up with more smaller maps instead of really large ones.
So like 512 or 256?
I bake mine at 128. And
Oh,
I've gone down to 64 as well. And you can still get very detailed texture. It just breaks it up into smaller bits. It seems to help for some reason with the file size. I don't know why.
The parameter that I found literally yesterday that changed the most baking time. Apparently Unity has a guide for the light map resolution, and it defaults for 40 pixels per unit. And they say outdoors you need 0.5, which reduces it from 24 megabytes to 47K in my case.
Okay.
Yeah,
and also from 5 hours to 3 minutes.
Wait, you're saying reduce the pixels from 40 to 0.5?
There's a setting. If you wanna, I can share my screen.
Yes, please.
Or do we want to do light baking for another class because we're already an hour and 15 minutes in?
I really think it could be its own class. There's a lot we could talk about and share.
I agree.
Odin, do you have a link for the thing you were just explaining?
The light baking?
Well, like the discovery he was explaining that made it more efficient.
Let me see if I have it on my screen.
If you could share it in Discord later, that'd be fine.
No, I'm just looking if I have the
It's in the settings for the model itself when you're pulling it in, right?
There we go. So
that's on the model setting, right? That's not in the light settings.
Yeah, it's your model settings. how it
section
applies to
number
CVs.
2, somewhere in the middle, it says like the texels per unit for indoor, outdoor, or terrains. And I don't know why they default for 40 when indoors is 2 to 3 texels per unit.
Oh,
But-
I have one more thing that's fun to add that might be helpful. That's everybody know how to put audio in the Unity scene? Let's go into that. Super easy. let's click on one of these characters. One last little thing. I knew I was missing one fun thing to add. So let's pull in this file that I have.
You want to share your screen again?
Yeah. Let me make sure I've got the file that I wanted to share and put it on here. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's share the screen. Right here. Okay, everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, to add audio to a object, audio source. Now here is the audio source parameters, and here is a file that I'm pulling off of from outside named charliechain.m4a, but you probably want to do MP3s are nice and small. So what you do is you drag your audio file. I think, does that take it? Damn it, I gotta switch it. You gotta do an MP3. All right, one second. Let me find a MP3 file. All right. Okay, we'll just go simple here. daftpunk.mp3. All right. So I pulled in an MP3. Drag into the audio clip here. And that is applied. You'll see the little audio symbol there with that object.
Mm-hmm.
Now play on awake. That means it'll start playing as soon as it's awake. And you probably want to loop it. That's up to you. You want spatial blends. I believe that's 3D. Doppler effect you want to shut down because then that'll do that kind of effect, and that kind of makes things weird, and you don't need that. It just kind of, if you're with your your flight sticks, it'll make a weird sound when you fly by it. So if you want that, it works, but you don't have to. I recommend.
Did you guys have that on when you did the party last week?
Now that was a streamed video, or streamed audio. This is just individual audio tracks that you just play in your world that you don't have to stream. These are your audio files that are put in your file. So these are part of your upload, which you don't want too much. You don't want too long of an audio file, or it'll just make your file size too big. So, but this will work for a 5-10 minute thing of audio playing, or if you want somebody to say things.
Are we able to have a lot of smaller clips?
Yeah, there's a way you could do randomly, or you can put random clips in all sorts of different objects. There should be a way where we can do
We can just
random player, but I think it might require scripts, so I'm not sure.
Can we just parent the sounds to the geometry? So like if I have something spinning and I want to have the sound attached to that spinning object, I want to have like a couple different sounds on that object. I can just parent it to the object and it'll play it spatially.
Yeah. You can even put an audio source on an empty object. So you can put an object here that has nothing attached to it, no geometry, nothing, but you can put an audio source to it. So you can.
And you can also use the same LOD method as shown before.
Yep. So
like have one object have the audio source in the other one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. If that works, if you can use the LOD as a trigger to play back audio.
Now
you don't necessarily need to use the LOD because there's like the max distance there. Pretty much if it's like a binary state, like on and off, it does the same thing.
Well,
Yeah, I think
where's the
you
max
want to
distance?
start it at a specific time. So if somebody gets close to an object and then start the audio playing.
Yep.
That's where that would help.
Yep, that's exactly why I showed you guys.
Okay, and 3D sounds.
You did really well, and it crosses over just like Playa too. It's amazing how you can blend all the noise together.
It is amazing.
So let's play this, and you won't hear anything if you don't have a camera with an audio listener on it. So, but I do have a camera with an audio listener on it, so we should hear. That audio is coming. You guys hear Daft Punk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's highly disturbing.
Where's the trash fan?
Yeah. Speaking of, do we have a trash fence model yet?
No.
Yes.
No. No.
No. You have a trash fence? You mean like an orange festival trash fence?
Yeah. But we have no plans. Daft Punk is not playing.
They might be.
I do need a fence for that for the Ranger HQ though.
They might be now.
They have an orange fence over there.
I might have saw them.
Added to the damn project. Anyway. Okay, so those are a couple of fun things. I think we'll probably do another one of these next week just to if we're stuck on just building and modeling, I want to also collaborate on some other fun ideas. So maybe another one of these, we can do it where everybody comes up with other ideas and we just round table. But these are just a couple of easy things that I think people with a rough understanding of Unity could probably do. Does anybody have any questions on some of the techniques that I did? So I can post how you look up how to do some of these. But let me know if anybody's painfully lost, and Doug, monitor the chat. Make sure everybody kind of has an idea of what we're doing and where we're at.
Hey, Greg, can I ask a question?
Yep.
So I have some questions, again, going back to the material. So in the diffuse map, when I add the material, I put the BRC Toolkit image in the diffuse map. What do I do about the normal map? Is there something that I should put in there?
That's a more advanced. So are you aware of what a normal map is?
Not really, I guess.
Okay, so a normal map, I don't have an example of it here, but a normal map, let's go in here. Let's go into the standard. Let's go through a standard Unity shader really quick, just so we can show what everything is. So,
all right, guys, I got it, Bounce. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Say, brother.
All right, this will be a quick dirty lesson. So, okay. This is your standard texture right here. So you see the dirt right here, and you can adjust the shininess. Now, if you do a black and white version of this, if you put a texture right here that's a black and white, it makes certain parts more shiny than others. So you can make it where it's, notice how this is evenly black and evenly shiny across the material. If you put something that's like, well, let's just see how it can, yeah. Let's just experiment since I don't have the textures in here, but we'll just.
So does it basically mean how to calculate the light falling at every sort of position on the object?
Yeah, so I threw that on there, and that tells that changes the property. Now, a normal map is a map that tells you, like, this is a smooth object, but what if you want it to be cracked or have like a roughness to it?
Okay, gotcha.
A normal map and a good program, what is it? It's here, this is I don't know if they even have it. There's probably a better normal map maker.
Substance.
Substance? Okay, yeah. Which is a good, that's a good one. I use some other different one, but yeah, it'll make you a normal map. So you can make something that's rocky without having to put all that poly geometry in it. So you can make yourself a normal.
So in this case, we are just using the diffuse map. That's what we drag when we create the material, that's what we drag the image and the texture in.
Yeah, right here in the
okay.
So now if you UV map, if you bake your your ground texture, you're going to want to use the standard shader. You'll have your dirt texture. Let's undo that because that's looking weird. This over here. 0. Okay. What you can do is secondary maps is kind of like an additive texture. So let's just kind of show a quick example. I have this right here. Okay. See how it kind of adds these two textures here. So here's a sunset. This is a bad example, but it kind of shows you.
It's like a blending that it's almost doing that.
Yeah, it blends the two textures together, which is really good if you have your shadows and your lighting baked on a different map. So what you can do is, see this dirt texture?
Yeah.
You can repeat that over and over and over again so that you have super high resolution of your dirt texture, but your secondary maps right here, you keep that tiled so you can put a shadow map on top of a really high detailed dirt map. So I don't have a shader, a baked lighting example right there, but
that's fine. I think that was helpful. My second question is about when I open the BRC Advanced Toolkit and Unity imports all these assets, so it puts it in the world which is at a strange like random location, which is very far from the light and the camera. So do you suggest I move the light and the camera to it, or do you suggest I move the models to the light and the camera?
Yeah, you want to make sure where you build. So a good rule of thumb is just go into your hierarchy, create an object,
Correct.
and just make sure everything is 0, 0, 0. So when you, that's 0.0 in your world, that's where you're going to spawn when you jump into alt space.
Correct. Okay.
So build around, so, you know, make an object. And so when you jump in, you're going to jump in right on top of this object.
Okay.
So.
Cool. That's great. And my third question is about the poly count of a world. Is there like a specific poly count that you suggest it should be when you make the world?
So if you're building your own, you're talking about your own world, your own camp?
Yeah. I think yesterday I talked to you about submitting an artist project, and I think it's just better to have a camp that actually hosts that project itself. I think it's just more, we have more control over that.
Yeah. So poly count is kind of a secondary thing. Basically, this is the key to performance. If you have everything, doesn't have to be everything, but as much of your world based off of one material, like if you use the toolkit, or even use the toolkit and then edit it and put your own textures and take everything in your world and combine it into one object, you can have a world that's 500,000 polygons. You can have very detailed as long as you combine and group all your objects together.
Gotcha.
So your headset is only looking for one object. So you can have 50, you can have like 1,000 of these RVs. And these are 50 polygon RVs. So you could have, what's the math? To get like 500,000 polygons.
Gotcha.
50,000 of these. If you have them all combined at once, it's one draw call or a couple of draw calls. But if you have 2,000 of them, it's 2,000 draw calls. Also helps that when you put your objects in your space, just automatically, the ones that aren't, that are not going to move, make sure they're static. That also helps. Yeah.
So the object that we have, or basically the 3D object that we have, is basically has a lot of polygons. It's a very complicated 3D object. So I think we were thinking either to work on reducing the resolution of that, or like you said, maybe it doesn't matter. We just bring it in Blender, and as long as we export this one big object, which is the entire world, maybe it will be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play with it, but it's mostly having, your world can have about 150 objects in it. And that includes people.
That includes what?
That includes avatars.
Avatars, okay.
So,
Gotcha.
so if you have 120 objects, that means your capacity is only at 30 people?
50 or so. I mean, but that's comfortable alt space parameters. We're all going to kind of push it, but if you keep things under 200, it's just a good place to be. You don't want to have 400 draw calls in your scene. You're going to have a bad time.
So 400, got it.
Yeah, you don't. if you're in that spot, you're not doing so hot.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
play around with it. Yeah.
But with the toolkit, hopefully you don't have to really. I mean, but you can use our toolkit, and then if you want, you can make another texture atlas of all these different textures, combine all those together, and then combine those objects together.
Just go ahead.
Okay, Greg, can you go for like to the lighting section of the basic toolkit for 1 second?
Oh yeah. Okay.
They don't show emissions in my version.
Okay.
I was wondering if there's something I need to do or.
Okay. Well, all you got to do with this. Okay. It might. Okay. So just go in. So just make your own. Okay. Make your own material.
Okay.
Like interior lighting. And it's the same as the other. It's a standard. But just put the texture.
Oh, emission. Okay.
Color, and it'll work.
Okay, that's the thing I was missing.
Yeah.
And also, for some reason, it shows as pink in my Blender, which was weird.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to kind of update that. But this is, I haven't done emission light in Unity. I've played with it a little bit in Blender. Works great in Maya. But it's essentially the same principle. It's tough to light an entire scene with emissive lighting, but you can. It just gives us nice, realistic.
Right.
Your lighting look intentional and look real. Like you see a light bulb and you see the light coming from that light bulb.
Yeah. All right, cool.
And then
because I have a few in my worlds and they're not lit. So I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, you'll have to bake your lighting to use that.
Yeah.
Which that's going to be its own topic.
My entire club is lit with emissive lights only.
I know, it's fun.
Okay.
From Galactica, I lit with just rope lights, and it looks very terrible.
So, Kaz, I'm guessing that's how you got around the fact that Bloom wasn't working, is you just used a high emissions?
Yeah. Have you been in the club yet? Have you seen it?
I haven't.
So when you go, I'm going to have, basically, I kind of cheated. Like, I have neon signs on the wall, and I wanted them to be glowing along the wall. And for some reason, I couldn't get the emission to kind of shoot out sideways and do what I wanted. So I actually copied the sign, pulled it away from the wall, covered the entire thing in emissive color, put that in a hierarchy object that I can turn on and off. I call it pre-baked glow. And I can put all these items around that will like blast out all this light and glow where I need it to. And then I can get rid of that object. And then the thing sitting there looks like it's glowing.
Okay, so it looks like just mesh to you when you're editing, but it's actually painting your wall. Yeah,
it uses light to actually create an additive layer that is put on top of your albedos and creates the illusion of having light there. It won't affect your real-time players, but it's
that's exactly I have the carpet in the theater, in the movie theater, we had UV lights under each seat, which made the carpet just come up at you when you walked in, and I was thinking, how in the world am I going to do this?
Yeah, you just put some light right underneath your seat, and it'll. So that's exactly how the night.
Yeah. Seriously, you could just put a purple light with a power of 1 or 2 on it, just a little strip like a black light bulb, and right down by the carpet, and with the proper bake settings and everything, it will bake a little glow into the texture.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
One last lighting tip. So when we light for alt space, I haven't included this in our thing yet, but I forget to light the avatars, you need to add a light in your world that is set to
Layers 10 and 15.
layers 10 and 15.
So you'll have to create the layers.
Yeah.
And I actually just named them Avatar 1 and Avatar 2.
Yeah. So what was the next 15?
15, yeah.
15, yeah.
If you do not have a directional light, alt space will add one by default, and it will be bright and awful.
Yeah. So so these you go in. So here's your directional avatar light and culling mask. So nothing. So we'll go into that in the next one, but just to kind of let everybody know that you have to put in specific lights and set them with a specific layer so that you can control the lighting. So we'll go into that in the next lighting class. But that's just to remind everybody. So we're at an hour and a half, and I think I have bacon cooking in the background. So yeah, how's everybody feeling after this? Everybody feeling pretty caught up, inspired, energized?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can you start from the beginning real quick and go over everything you did? Real
Yeah,
quick?
exactly.
I second that.
I was late, honestly. It would help.
So another plug. So just want to let everybody know we're just a group of friends and burners that just threw this project together, since we're kind of passionate about this, and we have no backing, no grants or anything. We're doing this for the love of what we want to do, and me, Doug, and Athena, we've been doing this for 40 hours a week since April 3rd, and for me and Athena, this has been since 2014. We'd appreciate whatever kind of donations that you can help us out with. We can pull this off, which is a little bit of help. We can really rock this out to be a project that we hope continues on and gives all of our community a good place to hang out and contribute. We don't want to build something to show off to the world. We don't want to empower everybody to build something awesome that we can all kind of hang out. That's why we're training everybody. That's why we're trying to come up with a way that collaborates. I don't want to build Plaid. I want everybody else to build Plaid. I want to go hang out at your.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to be the most crowded of the multiverses for sure, but we're going to have we're probably going to have the most fun because we're going to be fully immersive.
So we have donate on our website. We'd appreciate it if anybody can just help out just a little bit. But yeah, we're having fun. We have an amazing crew, a wonderful group of people working with us, and it's growing. And pretty much, I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with and builds with this. So that's my spiel, and I'm glad you guys signed up, and I can't wait to see you guys next time.
Good
question.
spiel.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So like last night, we basically grabbed just the camp, right? We grabbed just the camp and we brought just the camp into Unity.
Yeah.
But I noticed that you have like all the toolkit items in there. We don't want those, or we do want those, I guess.
Oh, so this is like, you don't want all of those in here. So when you go into Blender, you just select the objects that you want to export, and you just toggle Blender export selection.
Yep.
So you just want only the objects that you modeled.
Okay.
That's how you do it. So you just, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you assemble in Blender, and then you lock it together, and then you just export that one thing.
Yeah.
It's just better to assemble in Blender than Unity. Unity is good for unifying it all together with the sky and the stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was just going through and deleting everything every time I wanted to.
So the flow is still the same that we discussed yesterday, which was develop everything and like take all these assets, bring them in Blender, make the camp, port it as one object, and then do lighting and everything in Unity.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go over. Me and Kaz are probably put our heads together and figure out a way to really teach a good lighting class. But look up some lighting classes, some lighting stuff online. But yeah, I got to bone up on the best way to do it in Unity.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with this baking. Cos, I do want to talk to you. I had an idea, workflow idea for DJs, but we'll talk about that later. I'll see you on Slack. I'll see you guys later. We have a Discord channel. You guys all on that?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, not another platform.
I put the link in the chat a bit.
I'm looking, yeah.
We got.
I'm trying to find it. Hold on. I'll create an invite right now, guys.
It's like it's there in the chat like about half an hour ago.
Did you guys put it in the chat?
Yeah, like half an hour ago.
It's way back though.
Oh yeah. I'll put a freshie for you. Oh. Oops.
There you go.
You got me. You beat me.
Yeah.
Beat me to it. No worries. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. I think that's going to do it. We'll see you in VR.
Okay.
Porta potties in the basic toolkit. You just have to type in and you'll find them.
They're there.
I don't have a water truck. I forgot to do water truck, but porta potties are in there.